Hello everybody, welcome. This is Xorc1st from blackchippoker.com. Going to talk a little bit about how to become a better multi-tabler. Multitabling is very important in the online poker world because it gives you a significant edge over those who do not. First, we should ask ourselves why we should multi-table. Well, firstly, you're going to be playing more hands an hour, more hands than you would in a local casino, or if you were just one tabling yourself on black chip. And the main reason that jumps out at me and why I like multi-tabling is it lowers variance. So the bigger sample size you play, meaning more hands, the more you'll see the true outcome. So if you're an above break-even player and you feel that you make money at poker, then it only benefits you to add more tables, which will increase your number of hands, which will increase all the good stuff, including money, and we'll get to some more later on. More hands also adds to your experience and knowledge in the game. This has helped me out greatly with my game. I hand read very well, and I attribute that to multi-tabling because you just see so many of the same situations over and over, and you just know what to do in every situation. Also, it adds to your hourly win rate. Now, some people may say, yeah, but if I play more tables, my game may slump. Although in theory that shouldn't be true, in reality that may happen a little bit. However, your hourly win rate by adding more tables will be more than the very small hit your win rate is going to take. So there's a difference between your hourly win rate and your actual win rate. And also you can get the maximum value out of the Black Chip Poker VIP system, which will in turn give you more rewards and more money and whatnot. So having the correct setup is important to be able to multi-table. You want to make sure you have a computer that can handle multiple tables without crashing. I don't know about everyone else, but I've been on a computer that has crashed when I've hit the nuts on the turn and my opponent goes all in, and then I get the blue screen of death, or my computer just turns off. And then you hear the fan overworking and it overheating. That's not good. Get yourself a good machine that you can play on and that is reliable. Multiple monitors helps if you're tiling tables. In my opinion, I like to tile my tables because I just like always seeing the action on every table, even though I'm not in the hand. If you are playing heads up or six max, I strenuously encourage you to tile tables. The only games I could see you overlaying were something like the beginning of, let's say tournaments. Certainly not if you're at the final table though. So tournaments early on in a sit and go, or full ring. Those are things that you can overlay. But everything else, I feel you should be tiling tables. So that basically means always have the full table in view at all times on your computer screen. And having software such as Hold'em Manager or Poker Tracker to help keep track of everything. This means hourly rate, wins, loss. And also your play style, your pre-flop raise percentage, your VPIP, and all those good stats that those programs give you are very important for help analyzing your game. I realize if you're playing 2 or 4 cent, you may not be able to purchase the software. But if you're playing anywhere 25 cent, 50 cent, and above, this software is important to have and can help you improve your game. Also, these programs will take up a bit of resources on your computer. So again, going back to the computer thing, you want to make sure you have a computer that can handle all these tables and the software running. So game display settings. This is a current look at how my settings are laid out, and I find that this works for me. So I have auto muck, auto post, wait for big blind. These are all very standard things that I have, so when I load up a table I don't have to do anything. It knows when to deal me in, and I don't have to do anything. However, one thing I want to point out is the 4-color deck. This is very important if you're going to be multi-tabling, and some people don't like to use it. And at first I didn't either back when I first started multi-tabling, but I've learned now that it's very helpful and just takes one more thing you don't have to worry about, and you don't need to worry about misreading your hand. Also, another thing on Black Chip that screwed me up when I first started playing was the all-in button. I'm glad they have an option to hide that, because I have misclicked all-in a few times. Luckily never got called, but this was not, I just think that this should be turned off, because it can be misclicked too often. Also at the bottom you see keep hand history. That is very important if you are going to be importing hands into a software such as Hold'em Manager or Poker Tracker. So moving on to display settings. These are my current display settings, and at the top I like the single tables. The grid I played for a while, but I don't like how actually all the tables are attached. I realize with single tables I can play the same amount as I can in grid and can move them how I want. Bring active game to front is pretty standard, and I mean, your settings don't exactly have to match mine. It should be what you are comfortable with, but I just feel I've been multi-tabling for a very long time, religiously, and these settings are, nothing out of the ordinary. Moving on to buy-in and rebuy settings. This is very important, and I think everyone should have this. Assuming you're buying in for 100 big blinds, you want to enable the auto buy-in at 100 big blinds and auto top you off. If you go broke or fall below 100 big blinds, it'll just rebuy you right up to that amount. That is one thing I love about online poker, is that you never need to keep adding on like you would in a live casino. So let's recap and remember, don't forget why you're doing this. You're doing this for the simple reason to make more money and become better at the game. Keep your focus on the rewards, meaning the money, and try not to become an ultra-nit. Like we said earlier, your game should not change that much. And by the way, for those who don't know, ultra-nit is basically someone who plays nothing but aces, kings, queens, and other monsters. You do not want to become a nit. You want your game to not change that much. Although multi-tabling may have some effect and you'd fold some hands you'd otherwise see a flop with, it should not change that much. So if you're noticing your game is fully changing and you cannot keep up with the action, you need to ease into the tables. If you're playing 2 tables, do not go ahead and add 6. I'd add 3, and then 4, and then maybe the next day 5. Make sure you can keep up with the action. The object isn't to play a ton of tables, it's to add more tables while keeping your focus and trying to play the same game. And don't be afraid to drop limits, but add tables. So for example, if you're a 25-50 cent player and you're mainly playing 2 tables, I would probably play 10-25 and maybe play 4 tables and see how that works out. If your game isn't changing and you still feel like you're comfortable, try and make it 6 total, and so on. Get yourself comfortable with the amount of tables so you can play your normal game. For more tips and strategy, go to my website at Xorc1stpoker.com. From there, you can head on to the Contact Me page and let me know if you have any other suggestions for future videos, or shoot any questions you have my way. You may also follow me on Twitter at Xorc1stpoker. Thank you, everybody. This is Xorc1st for BlackChipPoker.com, signing off.